Risk in terms of climate change is something that means different things to different people, and it's a term that's quite politically motivated, politically loaded, and I think the good thing about today is to try and unpack some of those terms and connotations around risk, trying to understand them a bit better and trying to get them understood by different people coming from different perspectives.
It feels to me like quite a significant thing to create a forum where academics and, if you like, activists can sort of debate issues which are clearly important to all of us.
In terms of how we deal with security applied to climate change, there are really two choices. One is to see climate change as representing a new threat, which is going to make the country less secure, and therefore you have to protect yourself against it. That can mean protection against large increases in migration, protection against threats to energy supplies. The whole thing is configured in terms of what you might call securitizing climate change. The alternative is to see it as a much needed, really intensely provocative issue which really makes us rethink security, because climate change cannot be controlled by looking at it in conventional security terms. What we have to do is address the underlying causes and see that addressing of the causes as part of our collective security.
Security very much shapes how we talk about the risks that we face with adaptation, but the problem is actually it's not the issue of security, the issue of the risk we face, but the concept of security itself, like the idea that there is something to secure, there is a sort of finite thing that needs to be secured, and it's possible to do. The whole kind of apparatus of government is based on this assumption that you can actually secure things and that this is a sort of viable aim for government and that justifies its role essentially.
To challenge the word security has been an important thing from today as well. So the idea of increasing risks in society leading to increasing investment in security from governments, and seeing that as kind of increasingly irrelevant in a world without borders in terms of the climate, you know. What do borders mean? What do different nations mean when the weather has influence on a global scale?
For the first time in human history, there is no option except that security has to be sustainable. And that means rooted in the individual and the community, people working together, but doing things which actually work in the long term. They don't make us less secure in the long term. And climate change is the quintessential example of the kind of threat which has to be dealt with that way.